Get your films on with the Blurs.
Once an idea has taken hold of the brain, it's almost impossible to eradicate.
Unpacking movies has never been more spot on, woke, fire, and just plain lit.
They are lit all the time.
So if you're unsure whether or not to plop down some cash for a film, check out the Blurs.
When a man with a 45 meets a man with a rifle, the man with a pistol is a dead man.
Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolyte.
You really only need to hang mean bastards. But mean bastards, you need to hang.
Don't say you weren't warned. Here's Brandon and Jeff.
Hello and welcome to episode 36 of the Film Blurs. I am Jeff Stewart, aka Uncle Jeffrey, aka Revengeman Button, aka To Be Determined, and I am joined here as always with...
I'm Brandon Norwood, a.k.a. Hero Protagonist, a.k.a. the true father of Joe's kids, a.k.a.
the Glizzy King,
a.k.a.
The Lethal Contractor,
a.k.a. Rough McGruff. Dare's trying to take down Euphoria. We're going to take down Dare. Abolish Dare, a.k.a. B-Wood, the Magnificent.
Wow, 36 episodes. It's almost a year we've been doing this shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
The show's now older than me.
Well, there you go.
Well, yeah, it's much older than me now.
There you go.
Well, I shouldn't say much, but it is now older.
Well, hopefully we'll get to the number where it's older than me. So let's get to episode 100.
All right. Well, let's start off with some more Oppenheimer news. Matthew Modine, Dane DeHaan. Oh man, how many motherfuckers have joined this movie? I'm running out. So it's Matthew Modine, Dane DeHaan. Man, I can't even tell because they Jack Quaid and Jack Quaid have joined Oppenheimer.
At this point, like if you're not in Oppenheimer, you're not really in Hollywood. I think everybody in their uncle is going to end up being cast in this thing by the end of the end of it into production.
This shit is stacked, dog, and like, I can we get one black person in this movie?
I mean, they must have had a cleaning staff there, right?
I will say this: it's fucked up that Universal and Warner Brothers seems to be the only people willing to take big budget risk on original shit.
I mean, yeah, but it's also like it's the Nolan game, you know. Like they know they're at least going to double their money, you know, on like just on his name recognition and the fact that this is so stacked, like. Whether the movie is going to be good or not, that's
remains to be seen.
Right, it's to be seen. But like Nolan is still bankable, you know, and for a biopic like this, he's going to have to do some weird shit. So people are going to be like, all right, I got to see what kind of weird shit he's going to do, what kind of time shifting, like make me feel dumb about my intellect type bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, the initial synopsis said paradox, which I was just like, God damn, man, you can't even make a fucking regular ass fucking.
I mean, it could be like an emotional paradox. I mean, like, so I'm not going to say it actually has to do with time. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some bullshit time shifting, but like, it could be like the paradox between, this dude who, this scientist who his main doctrine is to sort of preserve life, making the ultimate weapon that ends up killing, however many thousands of people in Japan.
My question is it going to show the trial? Because what he did led to a long ass trial with lots of backstabbing. Like everybody was trying to cover their own ass. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, yeah, we'll see. We will see. I can't wait for the director's 5-hour cut of this movie.
All right. So moving from that, Atlanta. Well, no, before we get to that, let's get to Francis Ford Coppola. My man, him and Scorsese kind of unwittingly waged war on Marvel, and I get where they're coming from. He did another interview recently where he said there used to be studio films. Now there are Marvel pictures. And what is a Marvel picture? A Marvel picture is one prototype movie that is made over and over and over and over and over again to look different. And I get what he's saying there. I understand what he is, because I think that really became apparent last year between Black Widow and Shang-Chi, where I was just like, yeah, y'all have a fucking formula and y'all just remix it.
It's product. It's mass produced, but we've also had this conversation. Sometimes that's what the people want. Like, say we can clown and talk shit on Shang-Chi all we want. I know plenty of motherfuckers who are out there talking about how it was fucking exceptional.
Yeah, well, that Marvel bubble's gonna burst very soon.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like we had this conversation last week when we were talking about, like, I'm more excited for everything that's coming out of DC.
Yeah. We're gonna get into DC later. Because during What Have You Watched Lately, I want to talk about Peacemaker, because I promised you guys in the last episode I'd talk about Peacemaker. But yeah, man, Peacemaker is basically what Marvel should be doing. Like, I think Peacemaker had, and we'll get into spoilers for Peacemaker later, but it found the perfect way of telling its own story while staying interconnected to the bigger universe itself.
Right,
this Marvel shit needs to do that, especially since now Kevin Feige came out in an interview yesterday and said that there will never be another Avengers movie. And I'm like, nigga, shut the fuck up.
Right,
you say that, yeah. You say that okay. Now until, like, yo, Shang-Chi had an Avengers mid-credit sequence.
Yeah, so like it's all clickbait because it gets the internet talking. It's like, there's never going to be another Avengers, and that way, when they drop another Avengers in 6 years,
probably 4,
people are going to be so fucking hyped about it and shit like that. They said they were never going to do it, but they did. It's like, okay,
right, listen, if there wasn't going to be another Avengers movie, we wouldn't have.
Why are we building towards it?
The interconnected shit. Like, we wouldn't have Shang-Chi showing up and talking to Wong, talking to Doctor Strange, talking to the Hulk, talking to Captain Marvel. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Right. Yeah,
like, even Hulk says, "Welcome to the circus." I'm like, yo, come on.
Right. So, like, it's clickbait. Good for him for knowing his fan base is rabid and they'll eat whatever bullshit he gives them.
Before we move back to Francis Ford Coppola, I just want to say, too, Kevin, you forgot the mouse owns this shit. And at the end of the day, they are a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They want their money, bro. And if you ain't going to do it, they're going to force you to do it. Going back, and this is where I diverge from Francis Ford Coppola, because this interview kept going. And this is part of the problem with interviews, because either this is the part you either omit because it's just stupid, or you ask him, please clarify and expound on your thoughts, because what you're saying here isn't really clear and is coming off as nonsense. This goes further. It says, even studio films that Coppola considers good are somewhat similar. The director maintained the talented people, and this is a quote now, the talented people, you could take Dune, made by Denis Villeneuve, an extremely talented, gifted artist, and you could take No Time to Die, directed by Cary Fukunaga, extremely gifted, talented, beautiful artist, and you could take both of those movies and you and I and pull the same sequence out of both of them and put them together. The same sequence where all the cars crash into each other. Coppola added, they all have the stuff in it and they almost have to have it if they're going to justify their budget, and that's the good films and the talented filmmakers. I get what he's trying to say, but this also comes off very fucking ignorant just because there's no car crashes in Dune.
I think what he's saying is that even the more interesting films are formulaic, and you could get Denis to do No Time to Die, and you can get Cary to do Dune, and he's saying that there would be some crossover. What I'm saying is art is remix, in general. And yes, if there are some like overlapping themes or action set points and stuff like that, that's fine. Like one person can play a piece of music and all the notes are the same, but the way they play it is different. That is art. That's interpretation. So and he's the OG. Like he's one of the OGs and stuff like that. So you got to at least listen to him, but we don't have to agree with him because I don't have a problem with art with being somewhat remastered, remixed.
Tarantino's the king of that,
right? Based on the artist, but there is artistry in what Carrie did. There is artistry in what Denis did. There's no artistry in a Marvel movie, and I think I think he's spent so much time being an artist that he hasn't realized that movie making is also is a business. Also, it's a business art.
Yeah, because the last movie that he made that I liked was The Rainmaker. And since The Rainmaker, he's made like 3 or 4 art films since then. And if any of you have seen them, you'll know why nobody talks about those shits.
Right. I mean, Twixt was I tried watching that all the different ways you were meant to watch it, and it still wasn't a good movie. I appreciate him trying to like evolve the art of storytelling through cinema, but yeah.
I'm going to take off my critical hat here and just sit here as an audience member. As an audience member, if I'm going to see a movie like Dune or No Time to Die, there are specific things I'm going to want to see. I am going to want to see a car crash. I am going to want to see hand-to-hand fights. I don't know if people want to sit through a $200 million movie that is just very ponderous and very dry. Like, sure, I would love it, but I mean, it's not going to pull people in. I'm sorry. And most people aren't just going to want to see that. Like,
and honestly, if you're going to spend that kind of money, you don't spend that kind of money on a talkie.
Yeah, man. I don't get where he's coming for these blockbusters from. Like, you got to take everything basis by basis. Cause I will say this, there's stuff in No Time to Die that only Carrie could have done. Dune can only exist because that was clearly Denis' vision, like through and through. Like that movie would not have worked if it wasn't for Denis. Sorry, that's just how it is.
Right, and you also have to look at the source material and or the base IP.
James Bond needed a reinvention, and this basically reinvented it, right?
Right, but the IP from James Bond, it's fucking action and espionage. If you had a James Bond movie without action and espionage, you would have fucking Tinker Tailor
Soldier Spy. Fantastic fucking movie, but again,
it's not an action movie.
And that movie cost like 40-60 million and made like only 80. Why? Because it's niche.
Right. It's pure espionage. Yeah. It's like real espionage. Yes. Like James Bond is fantasy. It's always been fantasy. You had a character called Goldfinger who fucking murdered bitches by painting them gold. You had fucking Octopussy. You had Oddjob. You had Octopussy. Like I don't want to go into a James Bond film and not have some sort of action at all.
And in Dune's sense, Dune is the thing that has inspired almost everything we see. It has inspired Star Wars. It's inspired Game of Thrones. It's inspired so much sci-fi and fantasy. Like, of course, I'm going to want to see, like, big fucking fights. Like, I
want to see a battle. Yeah.
Like, and the thing is like, here's the thing. Dune is well thought out where there's little details in there that are paid off later. Like, I told my brother this. Somebody pointed out to me, like, they talk about the bullfighting and they show statues of the bullfighting and the head of the bull. At the end, when Paul's fighting Jamis, that fight is almost like a bullfight.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the movie, when Duke Leto tells Gurney to smile, Gurney, that's not paid off till the very last appearance of his film where he's running into battle and he has this big ass grinning smile on his face.
Right.
Like my man, like I don't know how you like. I get he's jaded because he can't get shit made, but you got to find a way to do it. There's streamers now. I'm pretty sure if you go to anybody, even overseas, like you'll find some German dude who'll probably want to finance a Francis Ford Coppola movie.
That's the curse of success, because people are going to want another Godfather.
Right.
They're going to want another Apocalypse Now, and he's not there. Like he's beyond that. So like
motherfucker, either like, and no, like I said, no offense, your last 3 or 4 movies weren't good. So like at a certain point, you got to take a step back and say, what can I do to survive in this landscape? Is there anything I can make of interest that other people want to see? Because as a filmmaker, the way I look at it is, not only am I making this movie for me, I'm making it for like 1 billion people. And will 1 billion people want to watch this?
Right. But here's the thing. He doesn't need to. Like, he could make just small movies off of the funds from his wine or whatever, all his other ventures. So you can't complain about blockbusters and everything like that when he could literally snap his fingers, right, and make his small little movie. Yeah, would I like to direct a small little indie film? Yeah, but I would also love the chance to do a $200 million crowd pleaser.
I think everybody wants the Spielberg career. You want to make movies for the heart and the mind, but also make the big populist stuff that will stand the test of time. Because let's be real, Terrence Malick is one of my favorite filmmakers, and to me, he's made some of the best films of all time. His movies aren't going to be remembered like, let's say, the populist movies that have stood the test of time, like The Wizard of Oz, even Jaws, or even Jurassic Park. It's just like, people forget, because stuff wins awards doesn't mean it's popular, and doesn't mean people will go see it.
It's not the Grammys.
Yeah, man. Like,
it's not based on sales. I love the Tree of Life.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But I'm having a conversation with regular ass folks. You know, I can't bring up Tree of Life versus they're like, oh, have you seen Tree of Life? No, man, I haven't seen it. Have you seen Jurassic Park? Oh yeah, I'll fuck with Jurassic Park. Which one? Which one of the 18?
And the thing is too, if me or you recommended Tree of Life to any normal person on the street, they come back to and say to us, what the fuck was that? That was 2 hours of just fucking people whispering.
Right, it's a tone poem. Like you made me watch 2 hour visual poetry.
Yeah, so
and whispers.
I get where you're coming from, Francis Ford Coppola, but also shut the fuck up. Like, just shut the fuck up. I think you have a point with Marvel, but to start picking on movies that are made by like legit artists, and like it's a miracle that
they got made the way
they
exactly
got made. Shut the fuck up, dog. Like, pick your battles properly.
And here's the thing. When it first coming into his career, he was the voice of that generation. He was all about bucking the system and shit like that. Like the entrenched and established whatever doctrine for filmmaking, right? And now he is that. He is that old man. You know, all these directors are these older, like, entrenched people who at one time were young and hungry and doing interesting shit. Well, the stuff that's interesting to you back in the 70s is not interesting to us now because you've already laid the groundwork.
I will also say this. The Conversation is a masterpiece. I recommended a few people to watch The Conversation. They came back and they said The Conversation was good. I will never watch it again because it's so slow and at points so boring. And I was like, look, you're right. I can't even say anything about that. I can't even argue.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, Francis Ford Coppola. That movie's a masterpiece, but I mean, at the same time, they're kind of right.
Right. But also, like, it's the audience, it's the viewer. Like, you can't, like, this is the whole entire Shang-Chi thing. Like, I hate Shang-Chi. I don't hate it, but it's not Shang-Chi. Good. I dislike Shang-Chi. But then it wasn't made for me. It was made for the people who, for the Marvel fans who will just die on that hill. they will die on that hill, just like Star Wars fans. We're going to get into Star Wars later on with what have you watched lately. But like, yeah, it's not every movie is for everybody. Not every piece of entertainment is for everyone. Not every book is for everybody.
Think,
it should be.
My boys Desus and Mero pointed this out too. They're like, it goes the same way with comedy, where a lot of these older comedians are getting frustrated that you can't say what you want. Desus and Mero kind of said, like, yo, you have to keep touching the cultural zeitgeist. And the cultural zeitgeist shifts and change almost every 5 years. If you can't evolve with the times and make jokes that are legit funny, right? Then don't be a comedian.
Right. I was listening to, like, I was watching on HBO, like, comedy from, like, not even like the early 2000s, like the mid 2000s. And I'm like, this shit's not funny.
Yeah.
Like funny is funny universally, but like the type of comedy, that shock comedy that was popular in like the early 2000s, middle 2000s, that's not going to fly now, but also it's not funny now.
Well, to drive my point home, and before we move on, what I mean by cultural zeitgeist is, I'm not going to get into specifics because I don't want to ruffle feathers and I'm still under some NDAs, but like, let's say I did get a big blockbuster and it launched my career. Let's say the cultural zeitgeist shifts away from comic book movies and we go back to Westerns. I'm going to shift with it and try to make the best Western I can. You know what I'm saying? Or let's say Westerns die out again and romance movie, like these big period romance movies come back. If Scorsese could do one, I'm pretty sure I could find a way in to make a period romance film. You have to adapt with the world around you or you're going to be left behind. And that's what I feel what's going on right now is my man's just doesn't know how to adapt because he's used to a way of making movies and the type of movies that were made now almost 50 years ago. That just...
Right. Well, it's like, here's the thing. I'm going to leave off on: are you making movies for yourself, or are you making movies for the public or the audience? It's fine if you're making movies for yourself, but don't get mad at people who are making it for.
But that's my point that I started off with, was that exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's trying to make movies for himself, and like I said, these last 4 movies that he made, I was just like, dude, they're not good. These may be what you want to make, and I'm glad you got to make them. Because he's complaining that he has to self-fund his next movie, which is called Megalopolis. Is going to star Oscar Isaac and Zendaya. He's putting $130 million of his own money into it, and I'm just like, bro, if you have $130 million just to throw into your own fucking movie, why are you crying? Why are you crying? Like, if you have that type of money laying around, get out of my face.
Right, like not even you have that kind of money laying around. You have access to that kind of money. Like, people are willing to give you $130 million.
No, it's his money.
Like, it can't be all
his money from the wine, from all the residuals, and all the money he makes off The Godfather. Because The Godfather's coming back in Dolby Cinema next weekend before its 4K release.
All right, so like you have $130 million to make your own film. Like, 20-year-old Coppola would have lost his fucking mind that he had that kind of money in the bank to self-fund whatever the fuck he wanted to do.
I can't imagine. To me, that blows my mind to wake up and be like, I got an extra $100 million. I'm going to go make a movie with my own money and still be okay for the rest of my life. You know how much that would mean to us? Like, I wouldn't be sitting here complaining like nobody can fund my movie. I'd be like, yo, I'm funding my own movie and I'm still fucking rich.
Yeah,
go fuck yourself.
I got this directing gig later on in the summer, and we're working with like a $500,000 budget, and I'm like, oh shit, $500,000? Nigga, I'm gonna do all this shit. Everybody's gonna eat. You know,
that's what I'm saying. I just worked on a short film that I did an hour's worth of work because all the work was basically already done for me. It's just indecision. I got paid a good chunk of money for an hour's worth of work. And I'm just like, listen, at a certain point, you got to realize you're lucky to be in the position you're in, and stop complaining about what's around you. If you want things to change, start propping up the stuff you like and stop putting down everything. Because eventually people are going to stop listening to you. Once you start shitting on movies that are legitimate art, like I'm not the biggest fan of No Time to Die. I'm not going to push No Time to Die down. Like, No Time to Die is one of the best Bond movies there is. Like, don't go after that. Dune is a literal work of art. Like, the fact that movie exists still blows my mind, and that the studio wants this to be an ongoing franchise in not only films but TV blows my mind. Stop.
Right.
So, moving on, Paramount had an Investors Day on Tuesday. CBS Viacom is now rebranded just Paramount. So the whole company is now just Paramount.
Okay. All right.
So this Investors Day, they're going all in on Paramount Plus, and they announced some stuff that's going to theaters. The first thing they said is there's going to be a third Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which I was like, okay, so I guess Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is decent because I like the first one. So I'm hoping the second one's good.
Right. I mean, and like they don't really have the like many successful IPs out there now, that are, or theater wise,
Well, in addition to the Sonic the Hedgehog third movie, there's going to be a live action series for Knuckles, and Idris Elba will voice Knuckles in this series. And the series will be on Paramount Plus. And I'm just like, oh, that sounds awesome to me. They announced 2 new Quiet Place movies. Michael Sarnowski, who did my favorite film of last year, Pig, is writing and directing a spin-off that's coming out next year, based off an idea from John Krasinski. And then in 2025, we are getting the final chapter in the Quiet Place trilogy, A Quiet Place Part 3. This spin-off movie is going to build out the world so that way this continues. They specifically said they want this to continue past once the Abbotts are done. They said the main trilogy is the Abbotts, and then these spin-offs and whatever else they're going to do is going to build out the world of A Quiet Place.
And that's fine as long as they don't go the route like The Conjuring or even The Walking Dead, where it's just like, all right, it's done. It's ended. You can tell a million different stories in this world that you created, but do you need to?
In addition to that, there is going to be a trilogy now, because the new Transformers movie that's coming out next year is apparently the first in a fucking trilogy.
I didn't even know there was a new Transformers movie coming out.
Yeah, remember we talked about this. It was they're bringing in the Beast Wars.
Oh, that's
Transformers
right.
Rise of the Beast will be out in theaters next year.
Yeah.
It's going to be the first of a trilogy. And in addition to that, there's going to be a new animated series that will weave in and out of this new trilogy. And there's going to be a CG animated film.
Of course there is.
Paramount is milking this because they also on this Paramount Plus day, they have renewed Halo for a second season.
Well, I mean, they had to, because you can't put all the money that they put into it. Like it's long money versus short money. Like they already put all their chips in on this Halo thing. They can't pull out now. They gotta give a second season.
We'll see. Other things that were announced: Dora the Explorer is getting 2 new series. One for preschoolers, so literally for babies, which makes sense. And then they're going to do a live action series for adults that's in the vein of what they did in the movie. Like a comedy, like a grown-up comedy.
All right.
Teen Wolf, that show that was on MTV, that was the serious, ultra dark version of the Michael J. Fox movie.
Right. The grim dark version, yeah.
It's back. They're coming back with a series of movies.
Is it like same characters
from the TV show?
Oh, okay. I'd never watched the Teen Wolf MTV show just because it seemed like it was taking itself way too seriously.
I just don't want to watch anything on MTV anymore. Like I'm done. Like the only thing that's related to MTV that came out during this Paramount Investors Day is this is going directly to Paramount Plus. They're bringing back Yo MTV Raps. That's the only shit I'm gonna watch that has anything to do with MTV.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I would watch that.
I'm
like,
listen, I'm ahead.
Yeah, I know, I get it. It's just like it's going to be surrounded by a whole bunch of other bullshit, and like it might be watered down. I don't know.
If it's on Paramount Plus. That means they get the curse, bro.
Right,
and they said they're gonna have ciphers. So
all right.
They are going all in on South Park. South Park will have 2 new movies, well, 2 new events. So for the next 6 years, there'll be 2 new event movies on Paramount Plus for South Park.
I mean, honestly, I've not caught up, but I watched a couple of episodes from this season, and it's still fucking smart. It's still edgy. It's still relevant. You know, like it is what it is.
Me.
I mean,
I'm glad it's for you. It ain't for me.
It's not for me. I'm not a diehard fan. It's just like if you want, parody and satire on a timely basis, you're not going to get anything more than what South Park's doing right now, because they can turn around these episodes in a week. All
right, well, moving on, we are this July, Paramount's going to premiere on Paramount Plus. I'm excited for this, a new Beavis and Butthead movie.
See, that's not for me. I used to fuck with Beavis and Butthead, but like I don't know if
they're old men. Like they have the sketches now. Like they're fucking old men.
Yeah, I've seen the sketches. It's like let's
this
see.
Movie will lead into new episodes of Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, I mean, are they going to clown new music, or are they going to still do old music, like old men listen to their old music? I want to see how this plays out. All right,
and they're going all in on Taylor Sheridan's Yellowstone universe. Yellowstone, there's going to be like 5 new series. Antoine Fuqua's producing the one I want to see. This is going to tie into the Yellowstone universe. Bass Reeves. Guess who's playing Bass Reeves? David Oyelowo.
Okay.
So so they have Yellowstone. They have the spinoff 1883. We're getting another spinoff called 1932. And then they've also renewed a show that has nothing to do with Yellowstone, but it's from Taylor Sheridan, called Mayors of Kingstown. That's gotten a 2nd season.
That's the one
Jeremy Renner.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Jeremy Renner, yeah.
Yeah, so, and of course they Grease. They're promoting their new Grease show, which we'll keep it moving. Okay. They're doing, cool. And the rest of this, I don't think we need to talk about. The only other thing.
All right, let's talk about this Star Trek, man.
I'm getting to it. That's the only other thing I want to talk about is Star Trek, like Jeff said. J.J. Abrams is hard at work trying to get this new movie made. It is, I'm not sure if he's writing or just producing, but he's not going to direct it. But like literally everybody's coming back for this 4th installment. It's long overdue. The reason why they're putting their foot on the pedal now is because they went out. Apparently, this took them like a few months. They went out and went across the country to see if there was any interest in a 4th Star Trek movie with this cast, and interest is high.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
they weren't sure just because they lost money on Star Trek Beyond, and it didn't do the money that the first 2 did.
Well, that's because the stink off of Star Trek in the Darkness tainted Star Trek.
It also
Beyond.
came out like at a weird time. There was like, I can't remember what else, but there was other movies that came out around that time where I was just like, yeah, I mean, y'all competing.
Yeah, I wonder how they're gonna handle the Anton Yelchin thing.
If for those of you who don't know, Chekhov was a character they brought in like season 2 or 3 and became a fan favorite. So it'll be weird to not have Chekhov there. I'll say that much. But I'm glad there's going to be a 4th one. Hopefully this 4th one could make it like a nice little farewell to the crew, because I just think this has to be it. Like Star Trek, if Star Trek Beyond was it, I think that was like a nice endpoint, but I'm glad we're getting another one. I think the fans of the Kelvin timeline, as we called it, deserve one last one, because like I say time and time again, I don't fuck with Star Trek that much, but I do love this is what got me into Star Trek, were these movies.
Right. And and I've been a Star Trek fan forever, but this felt like a Star Trek for me, you know, like a Star Trek movie for me, like even more so than like the Next Generation series of movies.
Right. Moving on, we will now move into some sad news that came out yesterday. John Longgraf, the president of FX, said that Atlanta season 4 is going to be the last season because Donald Glover doesn't want to do it anymore.
Good for Donald Glover, like leaving out on a high note, man. Like I wish more series would just be like, okay, I'm done, instead of like trying to like just beat a dead horse.
I wish we could have gotten one more season, like season 5, because I know they shot season 3 and 4 back to back just because it's been so long and they wanted to get it all out to meet fan demand. And I know Donald Glover, once they finished shooting season 4, he was talking mad shit. He's like, only the Sopranos can fuck with us. I'm like, nigga, calm down.
That's
big.
That's big words. It's bold.
So we'll move right from that to Blade Runner 2099. Ridley Scott is developing a sequel series to the first 2 movies. He is going to produce and direct every episode of this show.
Okay. I'm not mad at it.
I'm just glad we're getting more Blade Runner that's going to tie into these previous 2 films. You know what I mean?
Right. Because that Black
I haven't
Lotus
heard shit. I keep meaning to watch it, and I just honestly fuck it. At this point, I'm just like fuck it.
Like like the trailer didn't even seem interesting to me.
The theme song too, with that pop music.
Yeah, so it felt real out of place. I'm excited that we're going to be getting some more Blade Runner stuff made by the man who brought us Blade Runner. You know, like he's going to be like producing but also directing. So I mean, Ridley Scott, he reinvented modern sci-fi. You know, like he created that, like when he did the first Blade Runner and Alien. So I can't wait to see what he does with this, with some age and wisdom behind him. You know,
we'll move into speaking of shows that are ending, Better Call Saul, this upcoming 6th season, which has been announced for a while now that is going to be its last, is going to be split in 2. The first 7 episodes will premiere April 18th, and the final 6 episodes will be on July 11th.
Yeah, I've got to catch up on the last couple of seasons.
Season 5, holy shit. Season 5 might be better than anything in Breaking Bad. And if season 6 tops season 5, Better Call Saul is better than Breaking Bad.
I mean, it was already cusping. Like by season 3, it was getting there. It was approaching like Breaking Bad level. So I mean, that's all time.
Because Breaking Bad was a good show, and it got great in like season 3. Better Call Saul came out the gate like swinging,
like excited,
and then for each season, it's like Cobra Kai, where each season got better and got better, and you're like, how the fuck are they gonna top this? And you're like, oh man, how's Jimmy gonna get out of this? Last season had some of the most ambitious filmmaking I've ever seen for a TV show. Like they had a 20-minute scene uninterrupted, uncut. And
yeah, so I gotta watch.
Me and my brother were sitting there watching it, and bro, I dug my fingers into the armrest just because I'm like, it was tense. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but that was one of the most tense scenes. Like season 5, the last like 5 episodes are nothing but hitters, where you're just like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
All right, maybe that's something I'll do this weekend.
So yeah, speaking of being split into 2. Stranger Things season 4 is coming back this year. And because the Duffer Brothers said that these episodes are going to run anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours because, you know, COVID kind of fucked shit up.
Right.
They're splitting this into two. So the first half of season 4 will be on May 27th, and then the second half on July 1st.
Cool. The whole entire season splitting thing,
it sucks, and it's old.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I mean, The Sopranos did that shit.
It's corny.
You know, like,
here I understand, because like, if you're I don't want to sit through this season's 9 episodes. So they're going to split these 9 episodes up into 2 pieces, which fine, because if these episodes are 2 hours a piece, I don't want to try to binge 2-hour episodes in one day.
Right.
But it works. However, Better Call Saul and
Ozark,
Mad Men, they did it for Mad Men, they did it for Sopranos, they did it for Sex and the City. Like, stop doing that shit. Stop it.
Well, I think the first the Sopranos started it, and I think that was that because of the writer's strike.
I think because of that, and because of the production. Just because the production was so brutal on that last season. But there's no need to do this shit. You know what I mean?
Like,
Breaking Bad did it too.
Yeah, I mean, at least I'll get them within a year instead of like, all right, season, half a season 4 is going to be 2022, and the other half is going to be 2023. So you got to wait a whole entire another fucking year. Like,
that's the good thing. Yeah, that's the good thing. Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, these are coming out relatively close to each other, so we don't have to wait.
I can wait a couple of months.
Yeah, so that's what makes this bearable, unlike the other few times where you had to wait a whole year and you're just like, yo, we could have just played this fucking through.
Right.
Speaking of shows ending, Stranger Things season 5 will be the last season, which I'm not surprised because they only wanted this show to run for 4 seasons.
Right.
So season 5 will be it for obvious reasons. I mean, these kids are about to be adults now.
I mean, yeah, it's at this point, they are adults. That's the one thing about putting child actors in these TV shows, because they age faster than production goes, and it's really fucking noticeable.
I would not be surprised, since this is Netflix and since these kids are adults now. You know how Lucas and Max are dating?
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised we have a fucking scene of fucking Lucas blowing out Max's back. I mean, I don't know. They alluded to it in the last season where Max is like, there's a thing such as good moaning. And I was just like, yo, you're a kid. You can't be saying that shit.
Yeah, no. They're not going to go that. They're not going to go as far as having actual sex in this show.
Yeah, when she said that, I was like, yo, y'all took it too far. Y'all took it too far. These fucking kids. Oh, you can't be doing. Oh shit! All right, Marvelous Miss Maisel. I've never watched this show, but I know it's a pop.
I hear great things about it. I've never seen it.
It's going to end with season 5.
Okay, I didn't even know they were at season 4.
Season 4 is coming out this summer. So for all you Marvelous Miss Maisel fans, write us in and let us know how the show is. All these shows are ending. Everything has to have an ending.
Well, good. I'm glad that they're actually ending instead of like, all right, we're just going to keep this thing going until everyone gets bored.
Sons, I'm looking at you, sons.
Oh,
you should have ended right at season 4. Season 4 should have been it.
That last season of fucking
Sons the last 2, season 6 and 7, god damn.
But that last fucking episode with that fucking ham-fisted metaphor of the crows and shit like that, like, get the fuck out of here.
And then they got a spinoff. Which, how's that show still on? It's in its 4th season. I'm like, who the fuck watches Mayans?
Mexicans.
All right, well, there you go.
Like if they had a black backer gang, you got support. You got support.
Oh, speaking before I forget, let's loop back around to Atlanta. Donald Glover did say that he is willing to come back and do more Atlanta if he comes up with more stories. So it's not completely dead.
Right. So it's going to be one of those things where you'll like
it's every like Curb.
Every 2 years, you'll get like maybe an Atlanta movie or some shit like that.
Right. So let's keep it moving. Village Roadshow Pictures is suing Warner Brothers over the release of The Matrix Resurrections. And you know what? Good for them. I don't blame them. They shouldn't have put it out when they did. Right. The HBO Max model really kind of fucked everything because me and Trey were talking about this. Dune is the highest grossing movie domestically. Godzilla vs. Kong is the highest grossing movie worldwide, but both of those movies would have made more money
if they were exclusively.
Yeah. Yeah. Hands down. Plus, y'all put it out at Christmas against Spider-Man, and it was a movie that was like very meditative.
Right. Like, I don't know if it would have because it's not a blockbuster. And so I wouldn't drop it in summer, but you could drop that in spring.
I would have dropped it like right around now. Right around now.
Like I would even say like March, April.
Yeah. Yeah. There's really nothing in April other than Sonic the Hedgehog and Ambulance. Like, you wait a couple of weeks once Sonic is out, and then you drop Matrix.
Yeah. And then like that way it leads into the summer.
Yep.
And
it would been a nice primer for what's to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all listen, I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. The Lord of the Rings movies and game rights are about to be up for grabs. WB's just fucking up, dog. He's just fucking up.
Yeah, I mean, we can get into it, but like, why? Why are they like pay whoever you have to pay to keep those rights, or make something?
Well, let's roll into our next bit of news because this is Lord of the Rings related. Lord of the Rings: War of the Rohirrim had a first look. They put the concept art online, and the release date is April 24th, 2024. It's going to be an anime film, and the concept art they put up, I was like, oh shit, this looks hard. This looks hard as fuck.
Okay.
And for those of you who don't know who Rohirrim is like the kingdom of Rohan. That's what the people of Rohan call themselves, the Rohirrim. So this is going to take place basically at Helm's Deep.
All right. Yeah, I mean, we got 2 years to find out,
So, Jeff, if you want to take a quick look at the concept art, be my guest.
All right. It looks hard as fuck.
Yeah, I told you.
All right. But, concept art's one thing. Yeah, let's see what the
actual movie is.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers has greenlit a Wonder Twins movie. This is going to be HBO Max. Adam Sitzel is doing it. It'll be his directorial debut. He wrote Black Adam and he wrote Rampage. So,
I mean,
I guess we got to use Black Adam as the barometer for this. Obi-Wan is going to premiere on May 25th on Disney Plus, 45 years to the day that the first Star Wars movie premiered. I'm pulling that this is good because they just announced John Williams is coming back to do the theme for the music. Just the theme. He's not going to score the whole thing because he said he's done with Star Wars, but he'll come back time to time to do a theme.
Yeah, me too, John Williams. I'm done with Star Wars too.
Yeah, listen, this is the only one I'm hoping that's good because we'll get into it later, but we'll save everything else for later. Moving forward, Russell Crowe has joined the cast of Kraven the Hunter.
I mean, okay, cool. I mean, I can't get excited about a movie that I know is not gonna be good.
Jeff, I'm on your side here. I'm on your side. We've been shitting on this movie for a minute.
It's like, all right, cool, Russell Crowe. I like him.
All right, so yeah. And this dude was shitting on comic book movies. Now he's doing Thor: Love and Thunder, which is the only Marvel movie I could say I'm really excited for. We'll get into Doctor Strange later. But the one I'm really, really looking forward to is Love and Thunder just because it's Taika.
Yeah.
And Taika said this is the weirdest movie he's ever made. So,
and this is coming from a motherfucker who his career is built on weird. So I love it.
Also, he bagged Rita Ora and had a threesome with her and Tessa Thompson. So shout out to you.
He's been smashing them for like a year, right?
Yeah. Shout out to you, man.
Look, so weird nerds.
Oh, listen.
Let's fucking James Gunn going out with
Jennifer Holland.
Jennifer Holland. Look, weird nerds.
Our time is now.
It is we're here, baby.
Yeah. All right, so we'll get into our second to last bit of news, which is The Righteous Gemstones has been renewed for a third season.
Thank
And
fucking God.
I know, because this season's been wild. And Euphoria has been renewed for a third season. And you cannot be surprised because Euphoria, from the first season to now, has 100% more viewers and then doubles its viewers by every episode.
Yeah, because I mean, like the word of mouth on Euphoria, like at this point, everybody I know is like, "Have you seen Euphoria?" I was like, "No, I haven't. I will."
Yo,
I will be on.
These past couple, like this season's been wild, but especially episode 4, where it's basically like a mini Run Lola Run, where you're just watching a junkie down spiral, and you're just like, yo, like that episode was fucking nuts. This whole season's been fucking nuts though, because you, like I said, you're just watching. She finally hit bottom. Finally hit bottom, so we could say that much. So she finally hit bottom.
Yeah.
So now we just gotta. It's gonna be interesting to see for the rest of the season sober Rue not on drugs, and see how she's dealing with the withdrawal and the temptation.
All right. Well, that's everybody like. So it doesn't surprise me that they renewed it for a third season because like people who I know don't even watch TV are like, "Have you seen Euphoria yet?" It's like, "No, motherfucker, I haven't seen Euphoria."
Yeah, Euphoria. Oh my God, I love that show. All right, so let's get into our final bit of news, Oscar nominations. So the ceremony is going to be hosted by Regina Hall.
Yeah.
Wanda Sykes, where's she been?
Yeah, like, honestly, I like Wanda Sykes as an actress more than I ever did as a comedian.
She can be funny at times, though.
Yeah, she can be funny at times, but her comedic acting is better than her stand-up ever was.
She gets a pass from me because she was in Pootie Tang.
Oh yeah,
Pootie Tang's one of the greatest films of all time.
Oh my God! Have you ever read the oral history of the making of Pootie Tang?
No, I know Louis C.K. hates that movie, but you know what? Louis C.K. Dog, your opinion means shit now. So
yeah, I mean, it was a great fucking movie.
Yeah, fuck you.
So it was too weird and too brilliant for the time.
That movie's hilarious.
I need a fucking sequel to Pootie Tang.
Hell yeah, let's get that on Paramount Plus, baby.
Yo, Paramount, if you're listening, we want to direct
Pootie
Tang sequel.
Oh my god.
Satay.
Yo, people. Oh my god, can you imagine us doing a Pootie Tang? Yo, people would look at us like you disgust us.
It's like you had one opportunity to do whatever you wanted. You could have directed you could have directed a Star Wars or a Star Trek, and you decided to do a sequel to Pootie Tang. It's like Satay, something Ryan my pity on the running time.
It's going to be in such poor taste. Both of us.
The milk gag, when he puts the milk outside and he just taps the milk. Oh, we're gonna up that bitch. Oh, she's like, yeah. 20 years later, that shit's still hilarious.
Yo, that's gonna destroy our career because we obviously we don't give a fuck. So
that's cancelable. Like everything we put in a Pootie Tang sequel is cancelable.
Yo, it's gonna be in such.
But it's like it's gonna be a fucking Viking funeral, man. It's gonna be fucking just set it on fire.
Oh boy. And our third host, Amy Schumer.
Am I supposed to say something?
No, we're not supposed to say anything. Let's just keep it moving.
Yeah, let's keep it moving. Well, you got 3 hosts for the Oscars. Yeah.
Power of the Dog has the most nominations with 12, followed by Dune with 10, and a lot of people are pissed about the Best Director field.
Well, yeah, they should be. Like the fact that Denis didn't even get a nod.
This motherfucker has won Best Director at almost every single guild.
Right. Say what you will about the movie's accessibility or whatever like that. It's probably not going to get Best Picture because it's a little too heady.
But if it did, oh my god, stay off social media if Dune wins Best Picture.
You have to admit that he is the best director. He from fucking the way he pulled this, a movie that was supposed to be unfilmable. Its mere existence in the modern day after fucking Lynch did his version. You know, the fact that he did this, he like says to me that he is the best director for this year.
For those of you listening, please go to Josh Brolin's Instagram, and he basically said everything I have to say. Like, he's like, this movie lives and dies by Denis' vision. This movie only exists because of Denis' vision. He's like, the fact that he didn't get nominated, the dude who spearheaded everything and had his hands from the art to the sound, had his hands in literally everything to make sure everything worked well, and let's forget about the acting, just even on the crafts and on the set design, the fact that they used a chroma key instead of green screen for effects is fucking insane.
Yeah, so like, even though I've been writing my Oscar speech since I was 12 years old, the Oscars are no longer relevant.
Yeah, man, I that was one of my dreams too. Is like, man, I want to win Best Director for Oscar, and now I'm at a point where I'm like, man, if I start making movies, I just want them to be beloved. That's all. Like, if people like them and it's critically acclaimed, cool. Fine by me.
Like 20 years from now, I want some motherfucker on whatever future version of the podcast to talk about my movies the way we talk about some of these motherfuckers' movies.
Before we move on for Oscars, Drive My Car has been nominated for Best Picture and Best International Film, and it got Best Director. I saw this movie Monday, because I worked a gig Monday and I had a little time in between the gig and the Uncharted screening, so I went to see Drive My Car. And I will get into it when we get to what have we watched lately, because I have some very positive thoughts about it. Also, the animated movie Flea I will be talking about in what have you watched lately. Flea is nominated for Best Animated Feature, Best International Feature, and Best Documentary as well. And that I'll get into because I saw it on Hulu. It's currently streaming on Hulu for those of you who want to see it. I have some thoughts. The thing I'm most happy about is Spencer's been snubbed this whole fucking award season. I'm glad Kristen Stewart got nominated for Best Actress, because walking out of that movie, I was like, she deserves a nomination. And the fact that she's been overlooked up until this point, I'm like, good. Because that's the only thing that movie really deserves. So
Spencer's on Hulu now, yeah?
I don't know if anybody needs to watch it.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're gonna say she's the best actress, they should at least watch her acting.
I would say watch Jackie. Watch Jackie. Before we move on, G Fuel. We want to thank you, G Fuel, for sponsoring the show. G Fuel is a great energy drink. You put some powder in your little shaker, your protein shaker, add some water, shake it up, and it'll give you energy for a few hours. You know what I mean? If you have a very active lifestyle, G Fuel. Drink some G Fuel.
Yeah, drink the fuel. Actually, I started drinking it last week. You go into these things, and it's like, all right, it's gonna taste horrible. It's gonna be like shitty, because like all these energy drinks are horrible and shitty and shit like that. I was pleasantly surprised drinking G Fuel, because like I'm very sensitive to like I don't drink Diet Colas or anything like that. Like I'm very sensitive to that type of shit. And drinking this, it was actually refreshing. It didn't feel like I was drinking an energy drink. So like big up to them for perfecting the formula and not making me feel like my tongue is growing hair.
All right. Well, thank you, G Fuel, for supporting the show and sponsoring us. So
now all I got to do is be active. I got to have an active lifestyle so I can see how this boosts my metabolism and all that shit.
Okay. Well, Jeff, what have you watched lately?
What you watching? What you watching? I said what you watching? What you watching?
What are you watching?
I mean, I've been like playing catch up on a lot of shit, and we're gonna keep what I've been watching kind of quick because we got with 2 major reviews. But I will say, I did finish the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, so you want to do this together?
Yeah, we can do this together. It is, at first, one of the first couple of episodes, I just thought it was boring. but not horrible. And then by the last 2 episodes, it's pandering, it's insulting, and it's fucking cheesy. Like it's all the goodwill that the Mandalorian had instilled in me, the Book of Boba Fett wasted.
Well, this goes back to what I've been talking about to my friends, talking about with you on this show, talking when we're not doing the show. Boba Fett was never that interesting of a character. He just looked cool.
Never.
That's why people liked him, because he looked cool. And we got a better Boba Fett with The Mandalorian. So the fact that we gave him his own show, and then he's not even the main focus of his own show for these like last 4 or 5 episodes, I'm just like, well, who cares?
And like the timeline is like, it doesn't ever establish a timeline. It's the story structure goes from jumping in the past and then jumping to the present and then all this other bullshit that didn't need to happen. Everything else around Boba Fett is more interesting than actual Boba Fett.
Yeah, and you know what, man? This all could have easily just been The Mandalorian season 3.
I mean, honestly, the second to last episode was pretty much just a precursor. It could have been a Mandalorian. I mean, it was a Mandalorian episode. Let's call it what it was.
The one where it was just him following him the whole episode. Shout out to Bryce Dallas Howard. She did a Spielberg one-er.
Yeah. And like, she directed the best episode of the Book of Boba Fett.
You know why? Because he wasn't in it.
Yeah. But it easily could have been just in season 3 of The Mandalorian. And if I see Luke Skywalker one more motherfucking time.
No, come on.
Yo,
and
get
then
off this nigga's dick.
And my thing is, let's put a pause on Luke for a second. What really made me upset was the other 2 cameos that didn't need to be in this show. The first one is Ahsoka. Why was Ahsoka in this? There's no reason for her to be in this show.
Yeah, not at all.
And I love Ahsoka. And I was really interested in her show because I'm like, oh shit, we're going to find out what happened to Ezra. We're going to see Sabine again. We're going to get to Ahsoka as a character. And now for her TV show, I love Rosario Dawson and she's perfect as Ahsoka. But after this episode, I'm like, I don't even want to see her show anymore. That's how bad this shit was. It's like, I don't even care. Because if you're just going to ham fist this shit in where we're just going to have fan service, cameo to get you excited, more fan service, I'm off that. I'm off that. I'm at a point where like either tell me a story and do something new, or I could just go back and watch the old shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like there's literally an entire galaxy worth of stories. Why are we centered around this one man? And I love Luke and everything like that. But also, let's tell some other fucking stories. And let's stop with the CGI face.
Let's move off of Luke Skywalker because I want to talk about the other character real quick. Cad Bane. Why was Cad Bane in this? Like, bro, he shows up and I'm like, okay, so he's working for the Syndicate and then you kill him off in the very next episode. I'm like, you could have... He's a significant character, and you could have used him for something else other than what this was. It was just pandering. Him showing up there, I was like, yo, now y'all are just getting people hard, tickling the scrotum just to get them excited.
Right. And like, let's talk about the all of the cyberpunk modding and shit like that.
Thundercat.
And that's the cameo that ruined it for me.
With the weird EDM music.
Right. It's like, for one thing, most motherfuckers don't even know who Thundercat is. Right? And also, like,
he's the bass guitar god, for those of you who don't know.
But we didn't need this shit. We don't need the cyberpunk gang that, is helping Boba Fett. Like, it really does seem like Boba Fett and Friends. It feels like a Saturday morning cartoon parody.
It was fan service, the TV show. That's what it was.
Yeah, and so I can't get. I'm not excited for anything Star Wars related just because you've killed it
And then
for
the
me.
mid-credit scene in the last episode cracked me up, where they played that weird EDM again, and there's Thundercat fixing up Timothy Oliphant.
I didn't even get that far.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch. Like as soon as the credits started, I was like, boom, I'm done. I can't.
Yep, there's a mid-credit scene where Thundercat is patching up and modding Timothy Oliphant.
All right, cool. Because I like Timothy Oliphant and everything he is in. So
Timothy Oliphant, his character, I just found out the other day, is a big character in the novels. And that's why he's important. So I'm like, okay, so we're going to drag every fucking fan character that people like into this. I'm out. Like, I'm out. I'm going to watch the Obi-Wan show, but for the rest of this, I'm hitting the eject button. Like, I'll give Mandalorian season 3. I'll give it one more season, but outside of those two, like, I'm out. I'm out.
I see people online going like, oh, finally Dave Filoni has brought back Star Wars from the brink and blah 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 blah, and it's like, dude, you sound like an abused spouse. You sound like oh, he's not beating me today, so he must love me. That's what that sounds like to me.
This goes back to our first episode, at the end of the first episode, where I said, this is a piece of property. This is not your friend. It's not a family member. It is not your child. It is not your pet. This is a piece of property. You don't own it because you paid for it.
Right. I give those titties 4 thumbs down.
Yeah, so 4 thumbs down for the Book of Boba Fett.
What else have I watching? I watched We Need to Talk About Cosby on Showtime. Ooh, that was rough.
I imagine so.
That was rough. I felt the same way after watching We Need to Talk About Cosby that I did after the Neverland, the Michael Jackson documentary. Was it finally like Leaving Neverland or whatever like that?
Yeah, I never watched that. I'm not going to.
Right. Like I felt the same way because like I remember knowing, like the feeling that I got from the joy I got from Bill Cosby, from the Cosby Show to like all of his movies to like Fat Albert, Picture Pages. Like I grew up with Bill Cosby, right? And to know that he is a rapist, like a serial rapist, it's just kind of like it's kind of hard to rectify. And it's sort of like how I would think that the child of a dictator or a drug dealer would feel. Is like, that this person is a monster, but he always treated you well.
Right.
Right. And then I tried to have a conversation with a lot of people about Bill Cosby, and a lot of people in our community, a lot of black folk think that they're some of these women are lying on him. And I'm like, look, like if 50 people are coming out of the woodwork,
70.
What?
70.
70? Yeah. If 70 people are coming out of the woodwork, maybe 10 are lying. Maybe. The rest, the other 60, are telling the truth about how he would just fucking get you drunk, put some pills in your drink, do his thing, and then gaslight you. That was the biggest thing about it. Like he was gaslighting these women right after, and like making them feel guilty. It's like, oh my God, I got so fucked up that I embarrassed myself in front of Bill Cosby. It's like, you motherfucker. But then again, he's done great things for black people. He's done you
know what, man? It is. And that's the thing. Like, rape denial is big. You know what I'm saying? Even in courts. Like, we'll get into that in our main review because it has something to do with our main review too. But yeah, like the fact, I'm a believer. Even if it was one person, I'm a believer.
Yeah, you know I mean, unless I've been given a reason not to believe, I'm gonna believe the victim.
Yeah.
Because there is a 3% chance that I will be walking down the street and never get raped, right? For all the women out there, there is a good 50% chance every time they walk out the door that they might be raped.
90.
Is it 90? Yeah. So like but I'm just saying, like, so I can't really attest to that, like I can sympathize and everything like that, but I will never know the fear or like that it has to go along with like being a woman in operating in the world where, any moment you could be
brutalized,
sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Especially by America's dad. I do suggest people watch We Need to Talk About Cosby, but only if you're in the right mental state, because it is a rough watch. It really is. Beyond that, let's see, what else have I been watching? I rewatched Zack Snyder's Watchmen. Honestly, like, as much as we shit on Zack Snyder and stuff like that, he made the most accurate version of that comic book property he could, except for the major end at the end, the major change.
See, the thing is with me in that movie is it's Watchmen, but it's not. Like, it understood the story, but not the context or the nuance of what the story was trying to say.
Right.
Because it made Rorschach a hero.
Right. Well, that's, and I'm like, after I finished watching the movie, I went into the HBO show, which kind of retcons that whole entire
the show's
thing.
A sequel to the graphic novel.
Right. But still, it's in that same type universe. And every time I see, because I've rewatched Watchmen 3 times now, the TV show, and every time I watch it, I find something new in it. It is a masterful piece of storytelling, and it's a masterful piece of comic book storytelling. So we were talking about Coppola shitting on comic book movies, and how they're all product and shit like that. Here's an example of a comic book property that is highbrow as fuck, but still hitting all of those things you came for.
I think what the show did, what the movie didn't do, is it got the tone of the comic right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like, the tone of the comic is not in the movie. I think that's the other problem. The tone of the comic is in that show. Like, that first episode feels like Alan Moore wrote it himself.
Right. And since we have an extra long episode today, I'm not going to get into any of the other stuff that I have watched, but I am looking forward to. Are we doing a joint viewing of the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre for next episode? Because otherwise, I'm just going to do that alone.
Yeah, do that alone. I don't want to watch that shit.
All right, so
I got other stuff. So, all right. Real quickly, I'm gonna run through some movies that I've watched. I saw Nightmare Alley again in black and white, just because I'm so enthralled by this black and white version, and I don't know if this will be getting a release at home. Period. So I went to go see it with a friend of mine, and the movie fucked him up just because he had no idea what the movie was, but he enjoyed it, but he was just like, wow. And I don't want to get into spoilers, but we'll get into spoilers maybe down the line if this gets a home video release, the black and white cut. I saw Flea with my brother. Me and my brother, we watched Flea. It's a powerful documentary, and they animated it just to protect everybody's identity in addition to changing names, because how you protect people's identities in documentaries is you change the names and you blur out the faces and you pitched it down. But this one, they animated everybody, and it's about a refugee literally fleeing from country to country because nowhere is safe, just because every country, including America, treats refugees like fucking cockroaches, and it's sad. And it's a powerful story. However, I wasn't as moved. I don't know. It was lacking that punch that would usually stuff like this I cry at. And it was lacking that punch that made me cry. Like, this is an excellent film. Do I think it deserves to be nominated across the board as it is? No, because I really think the best documentary of last year is Questlove's Summer of Soul. Summer of Soul is going to be shown on ABC for those of you who don't have Hulu. I think it's next Sunday for Black History Month. Celebrate the end of Black History Month.
Is it already the end of Black History Month? That was quick.
Yeah, we get the shortest month of the year. That's why. So, yeah, Flea, I recommend it. It definitely deserves Best Documentary. I don't know about Best Animated Feature and Best International Feature. I don't know. I don't know about all that. We watched one of the main review movies, and we'll get to that later. Then we watched Jack Reacher, because, we're like, let's revisit Jack Reacher. We're in the mood for a thriller after watching one thriller. I was too harsh on Jack Reacher. I don't think it's aged well. Like, a lot of the misogyny wouldn't fly. But Tom Cruise, I will say this. I've read a few Reacher novels, and Tom Cruise is not Jack Reacher, but he does a good job. I am. Sorry, baby Tom Cruise. I'm a big boy. You could see why this is what put Christopher McQuarrie where he is, because this is clearly a studio film where he's like, well, if I got to make this, I'm going to make it the best I can. And this movie is highly flawed. Like, the story kind of doesn't make sense. There's a pretty cool car chase. The car chase goes on for way, way, way too long. But the action in it is fucking incredible. So I mean, I was a little too harsh when this movie came out, but yeah, it's a solid Sunday streaming movie.
I'm hearing good things about the Amazon show,
and I will get to that in a second.
Oh, okay, cool. There you go.
So before we get into that, I want to get into two more movies. Drive My Car, which I saw Monday. Drive My Car is nominated for Best Picture, Best International Feature, and Best Director at the Oscars. It's nominated for one more. Like, it got 4 nominations. I forget what the 4th one is. It's good. For a slow-moving 3-hour drama, it is an excellent film, and it didn't feel like 3 hours. And you know how this baller this movie is? It doesn't have opening titles until 40 minutes into the movie. I didn't see a trailer. I didn't really know what the movie's about. So I went in blind, and I'm so glad I didn't watch the trailer, because I watched the trailer after seeing the movie. Avoid the trailer. Avoid knowing what this movie's about. It's a really great international. It's just a great film. It's Japanese. I think if you've lived life, you've either been what the characters have been through or understand what the characters are going through. But it doesn't feel 3 hours. Even though it's a slow-moving drama, it moves fast. Like, this moves fast. And then I will get into the last thing I watch. For years, I've been trying to finish this fucking movie. For years. And I finally finished it. And it was hard to get through. I finished Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor. It's better than The Mummy Returns.
Okay.
And that's all I'll say. Because Rob Cohen, it's a Rob Cohen movie. It's better than The Mummy Returns just because The Mummy Returns felt like everybody involved was like, yo, let's get this money. Let's get this money. In this one, it felt like, well, let's try to do something a little different, but like, damn, y'all. Damn, like the Yetis. Once the lady started talking Yeti, and they're like, what are you saying? And then the Yetis come running out, and they start playing football with the humans, and one of them goes, goal! Like, that's where I always hopped off at, and I made it past. And was it worth making it past that? No. This movie, like, you replace Rachel Weisz with Maria Bello. Them two look nothing alike, and Maria Bello's doing an awful British accent. Like, it's bad.
I had actually forgotten that movie existed.
Yeah, it's.
I forgot there was the third or fourth one. Yeah,
it's on Hulu. Like, and then their son, for some reason, is older, and he just looks to be the same age as Brendan Fraser. So it's like distracting the whole movie. It's just like, y'all look the same age.
There you go. I can't really say anything about it because I forgot that movie even existed.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into TV. We'll move real quickly. We'll do Reacher. Reacher is accurate to the book. They changed a few things because the books are a little misogynistic. Like, let's be real. But the changes don't really bother me. They added in a lot of puns. The puns kind of break up the levity of it. This first season is based off the first book of the series called Killing Floor. That book is amazing. And I always wanted to make it into a movie. But then once they did the first Jack Reacher film, which is based off like the 10th book in the series, I was just like, well, I have no interest of doing this anymore. So they got Alan Richson. I think that's how you say his name. Alan Richson. He's the dude who played Colossus in the X-Men movies. And like that's how Reacher is in the books. He's that big. He's that tall. He's that antisocial, but he is a womanizer in the books. In this one, they made him awkward. They updated it. They pulled some stuff from later in the books and put it into this first season of the show. It makes sense, narrative-wise, storytelling-wise. It is a fun little rip-roaring yarn. It's pulp. It's like pulp TV in a good way. So it's only 8 episodes, only like 40 minutes an episode, so you can go through it real quick. It's already renewed for a second season, and I'm excited to see the second season.
Okay, cool.
So the only other thing in TV I'll get into is Peacemaker. We got the final episode yesterday, and James Gunn, man.
Here's a James Gunn. Let's fucking clap.
James Gunn, I want to say, DC, give him everything. Like let James Gunn do what he needs to do. That he's done more world building and more character work than anything that has been done in the DCEU. Like there's cameos in this that pay off jokes that also build out the world. Like the fact that they got 2 major cameos, and I'm not going to spoil it because you're going to be like, yo.
Because when I saw them show up, I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, and I thought they were going to keep them in silhouette like the other 2, because there's 2 other ones who they keep in silhouette. But the fact that these 2 guys came back and had fun and did that, it's just like, man, let James Gunn just run the whole DCEU, because Peacemaker already got renewed for a second season. He's going to do another show based off of one of the characters in the Suicide Squad, and he's doing other stuff in DC. So like right now, once he's done with Guardians, he's going to be like running his own little DC universe.
Right, he's going to be like the Feige of DC. And like, I love James Gunn because I know where he came from. He's like he's a trauma dude. He's been allowed to be weird with these characters and to be genuine to like that heartfeltness of it. Like, how is it that watching Peacemaker, like this character that you should be despising, like you feel bad for him?
He has a redemptive arc. That's what this whole show is about, is redeeming Peacemaker.
Yeah, and I can't say I don't want to talk too much about it because I want everyone to experience it. But if you have not been watching Peacemaker, do yourself a favor and fucking watch Peacemaker.
Watch Suicide Squad and then watch Peacemaker. The Suicide Squad. James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, then watch Peacemaker. And yeah, that's all I can say. Also, shout out to John Cena. John Cena's been killing it in his roles. Like, he plays comedic and dramatic very well. Like, him and Dave Bautista have been growing as actors, and this is what I kind of want to see from The Rock. Start varying your roles and start growing yourself out.
Right, because, I mean, The Rock is a brand, you know? Dave Bautista and John Cena are trying to be actors, you know?
Right.
Like, they're at that critical mass point where The Rock was, 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
Where they can make a decision to like do more interesting shit, like The Rock was doing when he started off.
Right. Yeah. So also, John Cena, thank you for the follow on Twitter. That was unexpected. I appreciate that.
That's fucking crazy.
I love you, man. If you ever want to come on the show, please come on the show. Same with James Gunn. If you ever want to come on the show, come on the show. Like this, listen, my DMs are open for a reason. I do business through Twitter. So just feel free. Thank you for... That was so unexpected for me to be scrolling at 6 a.m. this morning. Then I get a notification. John Cena's following you. And I was like, what? And I click on it. And it was actually John Cena. Thanks, man.
I was like, yeah.
Thanks a lot, man.
But if James Gunn ever wants to hop on the show, just be warned that we will be talking a lot about Slither.
I'll be talking a lot about Super.
And Super. And people forget about Super.
Super's a sad movie.
Yeah. It is a fucking sad superhero movie.
So let's get into trailer talk.
Roll camera and action.
It's time for some trailer talk.
So our first one, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. I can't believe Disney okayed this.
Yeah, right? I mean, especially from the Lonely Island, doing a Disney film.
I died laughing when Chip goes to Dale. You CG'd yourself? He's like, yeah, I got the surgery. I was like, yo. I was like, they went there.
Yeah, so this is gonna be a fun one, and I hope they do. I hope the Lonely Island does for Rescue Rangers what Lord Miller did for everything else.
Yeah.
You know.
So that's all I gotta say. I can't wait for it to come out. It comes out in May. Like,
yeah, it looks good. It's one of the few Disney Plus movies that I'm like, all right, I'm gonna watch this.
So that's gonna be, look for a review when that drops, because we definitely gonna review that.
Yeah.
Jurassic World Dominion. This looks hard.
It feels like Spielberg. It feels like it feels like the culmination of all of the other Jurassic Park movies. I'm not even talking about like the Jurassic World movies. I'm talking like back like from Jurassic Park 1 all the way up till now. I'm excited about this one. It seems big and it feels exciting, but the
tagline is the end of the Jurassic era, and this trailer looks to confirm those rumors where it's going to be two separate storylines that converge at the end. So,
all right, yeah,
I'm no more trailers for me, because between the 5-minute preview and now this, I'm all in.
Yeah, I don't need to see anymore. Yeah, it's sold. Take us to sold, fellas.
So let's move to Men. Alex Garland's new movie. It is a horror movie. Fellas, this looks like one you don't take your girl to.
Yeah, I mean, it looks weird as fuck. But like, it's Alex Garland.
It's also very ominous and sinister.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was.
I mean, it's A24. It's gonna look good.
Right. It's like the trailer is absolutely beautiful, but there's like it absolutely tells you nothing.
Yeah, it's just a teaser, so we'll do one more review if they put out a full trailer. But I don't even know if I want to watch the full trailer.
Right, like I kind of want to go in cold with this one,
because I went in cold with Annihilation, because I saw Annihilation 3 years before it came out, because I went to a test screening, and I was blown away. So,
all right, so Men, check it out.
Elvis, Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. I can't believe I'm excited to see an Elvis movie.
Man, this went from like I didn't even know was happening to one of my most anticipated movies of this year. That's not comic book or like, you know, superhero or whatever Star Wars related. It is why is it taking Baz so long to do an Elvis movie? It seems this is perfect for him. This is like he was built for this.
I will say, even when Baz Luhrmann doesn't hit for me, I'm always glad to see a Baz Luhrmann movie. Like the only Baz Luhrmann movie where I was just like, well, that was a waste, was Australia. Otherwise, like I fuck with his Great Gatsby. Romeo and Juliet's one of my all-time favorites.
Moulin Rouge.
I'm not a fan of Moulin Rouge, but I still fuck with it. Like that opening where they're all singing like we do the can because we can, and they mashed it up with Smells Like Teen Spirit. That was hard.
Right.
Like I got to give it up to him. That like a lot of that was hard, but yeah, man.
And like it looks like this is going to play a lot into, you know, how Elvis was raised on black music.
Yeah, and how he feels guilty because I know he did before he died. He came out and apologized. He's like, I didn't realize what I was doing. I was just making music.
Right.
So,
right.
We'll move on. Like, so June, this is going to be a summer movie. I want to, and this is what we said earlier. Shout out to WB. Shout out to Universal. You guys are really the only ones putting budgets and money behind original movies. So thank you. So let's move on to The Contractor. Looks like a solid little mid-budget thriller.
Yeah, I love I'm a big sucker for military action. And so this, I mean, it seems like one of those movies that you don't get too often.
Yeah.
Like that, like late 90s, early 2000s, just like adult action oriented thriller.
Right.
But it looks smart. It looks, unlike some of the other bullshit that came out of the late 90s.
Early 2000s. Are we covering this?
Yeah, we'll cover The Contractor.
Okay. So we'll move on to The Boys presents Diabolical.
I mean, it looks fun.
I still have to finish the second season of The Boys.
Oh yeah, all right. It's good.
All right,
it's good. Yeah. But it's 8 stories set in the world of the Boys. Different animation styles. I mean, they're trying to milk that IP for as much as they can. Looks like I got some name talent behind it, some name voice acting. Right. I was like, I'm not gonna watch it.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I'll give it a shot. I'm not over the moon about it. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I'm not excited about it, but I'm not trying to.
This is the next one we're talking about. I was just like, another Stephen King remake. Like, this dude has a million stories, and we're going back to the well. But then I watched the trailer. I'm like, yo, this looks hard as fuck. And in our superhero times, it makes sense for the story he's trying to tell. Firestarter.
Yeah, I mean, original. Yeah, I mean, if you watch the original Firestarter, like the '80s version with a Drew Barrymore and stuff like that. I mean, it's a Stephen King story that's been kicking around forever. I think they tried to reboot it. I think ABC did a TV movie or some shit like that. I even think it was a sci-fi original. I mean, I'm not so in love with the Firestarter story that I was like, oh, you can't reboot it, you can't remake it, and everything like that. It looks quality.
It's not
it
like
good.
I'm in love. I'm just like, yo, I'm tired of doing the same Stephen King stories, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, definitely. It looks good. It looks good. Like, I got nothing, but it's a it's nothing next level about it. It's nothing like, oh shit, this is totally new to me because I'm familiar with the old Firestarter. But it does look like it is a thoughtful remake, which is all we can ask for, is a thoughtful remake of some of this Stephen King shit.
All right, let's move on to the Adam Project. It drops next month on Amazon. Looks fun. That's all I can say. It looks fun.
Yeah,
the action looks
fun.
Really good.
And it's Ryan Reynolds, man. It's America's Canadian boyfriend.
I was like, this. It looks movie theater quality. I'll say that much.
Yeah, it looks movie theater quality. It feels Spielbergian. Like, when I say that, like, it just feels like that feeling that you get when you watch a Spielberg movie. I kind of got those tingles from watching the Project Adam trailer.
All right, well, let's move on to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Another trailer. I can't believe they dropped another trailer so quickly. It looks cool, man. It looks like they're doing the Illuminati because there seems to be bringing in what's his face, Professor X, because it sounded like Patrick Stewart. Right. I don't know, man. I'm excited to see it, but I'm also not, just because I'm at the burnout point with Marvel.
Right, but I think if any Marvel property has the potential to do at least something interesting, it's gonna be this.
I think it's gonna be
And
Thor,
like you
man. I
got,
think Thor's gonna be it.
I mean, Thor's definitely gonna be it, but like this, I got faith in Raimi.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
But it looks good. It looks like it doesn't. Like the tickets already sold. I was gonna see this no matter what.
All right, and for our final trailer, it is Amazon's $1 billion Lord of the Rings: The Rings of Power. I got no opinion on this because this was basically a teaser, and for $1 billion, it looks cheap.
Meh. It looks like it's TV. It looks like it's overly CG, not nearly as gritty as what we've seen from like not Lord of the Rings, from Game of Thrones. I'm not excited about it, but I'm not discounting it. It just looks like it's there. It's like niggas on mountains and shit like that, and beasts.
Let's move on to the final one. I'm gonna give you thoughts on Nope. I can't believe this shit got greenlit because I've always thought from the poster that they put out last year, I was like, oh, Jordan Peele's doing an alien invasion movie. And this trailer pretty much confirms it's an alien invasion movie. Yeah. And it looks absolutely terrifying. It's like a cross between a horror movie with aliens and a Western, basically. Like, this looks amazing. The cinematography looks incredible. It's shot by Hoteme von Hotema. That is Nolan's go-to DP. It's shot in a combination of 70mm and 70mm IMAX. So a good portion of this is shot for IMAX, an actual IMAX 1.43 aspect ratio. This is like at the top. It was already at the top of my most anticipated. It is my most anticipated movie of the year.
It gave me shades of Close Encounters. It gave me shades of like a real fucked up E.T. And like I'll give it a chance. Like I'm not everything I saw in the trailer, which it didn't really give much away, but it looks like it has the potential to be the one Jordan Peele movie that actually turns my knob towards okay.
Okay, so you'll be getting when this drops, you'll be getting a solo review of Ambulance from Jeff, and then you'll be getting a solo review of Nope from me. I'm gonna make sure to see this at the real IMAX at 68th and Broadway. Like, I'm excited to see what Jordan Peele does with IMAX and what's going to be in IMAX. Because those shots of those clouds, some of those clouds look like a spaceship. And there are shots of spaceships in this trailer. And if you can freeze frame the trailer, there's a shot of where Daniel Kaluuya's backing up slowly. You could see the top of the alien's head. So it is like a little green man.
Yeah, so we'll see.
I'm excited. I'm so hyped for Nope. This trailer, I wish more trailers were like this, where it gives you not a lot, but just enough. Well, let's move on to our main review.
And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the Film Blurts feature film review.
Kimi is I love Kimi. Soderbergh, man, he just knows how to make a movie.
Yeah, this is him doing Hitchcock.
Yeah.
It's not like I never saw any trailers for it, but like from the description for it makes it seem like it's like this real intense thriller, which it is, but it's also really about isolation in our digital world, and Zoe Kravitz kills it.
This was a great movie for Black History Month because we have a black woman leading a psychological thriller. Her love interest is a black dude. Everything that's set up here is paid off. It's tight. There's no fat. It's only an hour and a half. This is the type of movie I wish I could have saw in a theater in like Dolby Atmos sound, because the sound mixing in this is incredible.
And like the visual flourishes are there, but they're not they're not like demonstrable. They're not like in your face.
I love that once she goes outside, because she has OCD like I do. She's also a rape victim, and she has a bit of agoraphobia. It's that agoraphobia because this takes place during the height of the pandemic when we're all in lockdown. She kind of freaks out when she goes outside. So the camera does rotating Dutch angles when she's going outside, and everything is kind of sped up a few frames. And I was just like, this is crazy. I was like, damn, Soderbergh, man.
Shout out to the production designer, because her pill cocktail is the same pill cocktail I take. And it's like, oh, that's accurate.
I mean, the only thing that I didn't find believable is how she knew how to use a nail gun the way she did at the end of the movie, like to tape it down so it becomes an automatic gun and shit like that.
She says that her father...
was a carpenter. Right. All right. So yeah, literally everything that's set up in here.
So everything pays off. Yeah, this is a smart thriller, and it's a small movie. It's a really small movie, which I loved because you watch so many fucking these big, huge blockbusters and everything like that. It's great to get a small, little, tight, intelligent movie.
David Keough wrote this, and David Keough has fucking credits under his name as a screenwriter. Like, he co-wrote Jurassic Park, he wrote Panic Room, he co-wrote Mission Impossible, the first one, he co-wrote Carlito's Way, he co-wrote Lost World. No, he wrote Lost World. He wrote Stir Echoes. He wrote the first Spider-Man in 2002 by Sam Raimi. He co-wrote War of the Worlds. He co-wrote Angels and Demons. He co-wrote a lot of stuff. Like, he has hitters under his name. So like, I'm glad he still has it. So shout out to David Keough, because this script is just so good. And Cliff Martinez, man. Dude, your score is incredible.
Yeah, no, the score, sound design, camera work, it's one of the highlights for HBO Max when it comes to like original programming, and it really should have been in a theater. This should have been in a theater much more. It's much more deserving of a theatrical release than all the little, what was it, the little things or whatever like that.
Yeah, I know why, because this is a New Line movie, and you know how they treat New Line. I would like to say, Zoe Kravitz, what up, ma? Like, let's make beautiful light-skinned kids. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe your boy John Cena will put a good word in for you.
Yeah. I can't wait. Yo, we're getting double Kravitz this month. Because we're about to review the last big blockbuster of winter before we move into our next episode. We're going to talk about one of the biggest movies of the year and the first big blockbuster of spring. So, Kimi, guys, watch it immediately. It's on HBO Max. Like, there's no excuse.
Right.
No excuse.
Yeah, they're giving away HBO Max, so you might as well.
Like, watch it. It's only 89 minutes. Like, there's no excuse.
Yeah.
And that's with credits. So we'll move into Uncharted. I played the video games. I like the video games. This movie is a prequel to the video games, and honestly, it just doesn't work all around. Ruben Fleischer, how's this dude still working?
Didn't he do Snake Eyes?
No, Ruben Fleischer did Gangster Squad, Zombieland 1 and 2, 30 Minutes or Less, and the first Venom.
Gotcha. Look, I went in this with trepidation, and I was totally expecting to hate it, and I did hate it for the first, I would say, half hour, and then after that, it just became unoffensive.
It is the most generic movie possible. Like, there's no life to it. It feels inert. Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland look so much alike that they almost come across as father and son, rather than friends. Because in the games, Sully and what's his face, Nate Drake, they're friends. And in this, they just seem like father and son because the age gap it is the age gap is there in the games, but they're also much older.
Right. I wish they would just stop fucking around and start putting Nathan Fillion in roles that Nathan Fillion was born to play. They literally Nate Drake from the Uncharted series looks like Nathan Fillion.
And acts and talks like Nathan Fillion.
Right.
I feel like Tom Holland looked and acted younger here than he did in Spider-Man.
I won't say that, but he didn't seem as old as he should have been.
Yeah, the role needed him to be.
Right, yeah.
Because and the thing, there's like a gratuitous montage of him training, and it has nothing to do with anything other than to see Tom Holland shirtless doing pull-ups and climbing up a rope.
Right. And like the big thing that I hated, and that's why I hated the first half hour, is you start the movie off with your big in the middle of your big fucking set piece. That shows me how little faith you have in your actual storytelling when you start with you're in the middle of you're the biggest set piece in your movie, and then you flash back to how we got here. I was like, I hate that shit. There's not it doesn't need that. And honestly, if they had just kept it where it was, like kept the actual storytelling linearly, that set piece would have been much more impactful.
I'll say this too. The opening set piece is what you see in the trailers. That's from the second video game. What works in a video game doesn't necessarily work in a movie, because that shit was just fucking stupid. Like, the only set piece in this movie I enjoyed was when the ship started flying at the end. Because I thought that was cool. Yeah, I was like, this is cool. It's inventive. It makes sense.
And like the treasure hunting, we've seen it better in National Treasure.
And even National Treasure is okay at best.
Like we've seen treasure hunting done much better. I do like the chemistry between Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg.
I don't think it's there.
It's
barely there.
If they had gotten rid of like Uncharted and made this any other fucking just adventure movie, I think that dynamic would have worked.
Maybe. I don't know. They also, the other problem is there's really nothing to work with, and they're working with somebody, and no offense to Ruben Fleischer, but it just seems like they needed a stronger director to get better performances out of them.
It seemed like for the first part of the movie, they seemed like they were all rushing through their lines.
The movie itself, it's 2 hours, and the movie feels like it's rushing from story beat to story beat to keep it 2 hours.
Right.
Like, there's no room for anything to breathe, and it feels unmotivated. I was never pulled in the way that these movies should pull you in.
Right. And like Antonio Banderas's whole entire reason for wanting the gold is like, motherfucker, you're still rich.
My other problem is the betrayal. Who cares? We're going to get into spoiler. There's a betrayal that happens, and I'm just like, okay, but why would they start following you?
Right.
That makes no sense. Like, these guys are just going to start following you randomly.
Right. And honestly, like, they're going to start following you when you have proven that you cannot be trusted.
Yes, exactly. Like, I was just like, what?
Right.
It felt like a movie where stuff happened just because, like,
it happened in the video game.
And it needed to move the story along just because it had to hit certain plot points. And it's just like, do I want to see the sequel to this? Not really.
But they set it up twice. They set up a sequel for this fucking thing twice.
Yeah, because doesn't it have 2 credit sequences?
Yeah, it's got 2 end credit sequences.
Yeah, and the second one, I was just like, what?
It was like, oh, he's got the golden gun. Actually, you see the second post-credit scene
in the trailers.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
To me, it was inoffensive. Like, if this was on Hulu and I had nothing else to watch on a Sunday, yeah. But otherwise, it's utterly forgettable.
This is the definition of TNT Sunday movie where I'm doing laundry, I got stuff I got to do, and this plays in the background, and you look up every once in a while to see what's going on, and then you keep doing what you got to do.
Right. So
this is like I had no expectations for this in the first place, and I got exactly what I expected, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I will forget about everything that happened in this movie by Monday.
This is a better than average February movie, but it's still like below average somehow.
It's no X versus Sever.
It took them 20 years to make this movie. At one point, David O. Russell was going to make this with Mark Wahlberg as Nathan Drake. So the fact that it took 20 years for us to get this.
Right. This is what we got. Like, honestly, the storytelling is better in the video game.
I'll say this. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I'll say this. I'm glad The Last of Us is going to be a HBO TV show and not a movie.
Right.
Because, they had the PlayStation Productions, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm not mad at that because PlayStation has a lot of shit that could be adapted. I just hope everything's a TV show. Like, I hope we get a God of War TV show.
Yeah, God of War TV show.
And no more movies for you, PlayStation. Keep everything.
Or even like the fucking Zero Horizon would make a great.
Yeah, that would make a great TV show. That new one came out today.
Yeah. I gotta finish the old one.
Yeah, same. Anyway, that is episode 36.
We're the Film Blurs. I'm Brandon Norwood, and I'm the motherfucking protagonist.
I'm the protagonist.
I'm Jeff Stewart, a.k.a. He Who Remains.
Don't come at us. It's just fucking movies.
You've been listening to the Film Blurs podcast.
Man, I just love what you guys do, man.
I never miss an episode. It's the best. It's my favorite podcast.
Follow Jeff on IG on MindFireXL and Brandon on Twitter at BJN Tweets.